Okay, back with hot stocks, and a sector which has been extremely hot the last few sessions is real estate. Well, maybe the tide is turning, maybe interest rates are coming down, maybe all of these put together is helping the bulls in the sector find some breathing space. But yes, lots that's happening within the sector, but lots that's happening in the company as well. Godrej Properties, you remember a month ago or so, they launched a project which was sold out on the first day itself. They've just launched a new project in Bangalore, which is a residential township, if I'm not wrong. So lots happening with Godrej Properties. Let's get in Pirojsha Godrej, Managing Director of the company, who joins us on the show. Good having you, Pirojsha. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Now, let's just start off with the new project that you've launched. And maybe the expectations are very high with this one as well, although there's no relation between the Delhi project and a Bangalore project. But maybe the expectations are high with this one after what you did in Delhi or Gurgaon, as you may put it. How is the mood with regards to this new launch in Bangalore?
Great to be with you, Neeraj. I think we're quite excited about having some projects to launch in Bangalore. The project we launched last week is called Godrej Gold County. And it's actually a high-end villa project with villas starting at about 2 crores each, and the total project comprises of about 87 villas. So it's a little bit different type of project from the one we launched in Gurgaon. But Bangalore certainly has been a market that, like Gurgaon, has been performing very well. Actually, if we looked, as we looked at Q1 data, we saw that Bangalore, by volume, sold more than either Gurgaon or Mumbai in Q1. Again, that's from a volume perspective. So we're quite happy to have this launch in Bangalore. We're very confident that it'll be another successful launch. We also actually, over the past week, soft launched another project in Bangalore, which will be officially launched in a couple of weeks. So I think we have a couple of projects already underway in Bangalore, a couple of these new launches. So I think Bangalore, like Gurgaon, like Mumbai, is a very important market for us.
What's been the initial response to the launch in terms of inquiries?
Actually, very good. So we put out our first ad and did the press conference and so on for the thing at the end of last week. Over the weekend, we've had a huge number of visits. Again, this being a villa and a slightly more high-end project, it is not likely to be sold out, for example, as quickly as an apartment complex where prices are a little bit lower. But certainly, I think the response so far has been quite strong.
Tell us, before we talk about a couple of concerns as well that are there, Pirojsha, just a couple of words on, say, for example, the Godrej Summit project, which you launched a month ago, and you had the first phase sold out. I read somewhere that you had mentioned that you would probably launch the phase 2 of this one by Dussehra or Diwali. Are those plans on track? 1. And 2, are you taking the price higher after the success that you've seen in the phase 1 of the Gurgaon project?
So yes, on both counts, we do hope to continue. We still plan to launch the second phase of Godrej Summit by Diwali, if not slightly before. And certainly, given the overwhelming success of phase 1, and now that we've already sold half of the project, I think the goal from here will be to take prices up and will be to focus more on further improving the margin from the project rather than too much volumes from here on. But certainly, I think we're quite confident given the success of phase 1.
Okay, now to how you would do essentially in the second half. You have, albeit marginally so, but missed the H1 launches guidance that you had initially set out, and that's something that a couple of reports pointed out. So I just want to get a status update on what you're doing right now. I believe you have 5 commercial projects currently underway in Tier 2 cities and Chandigarh, Kolkata as well, and there's a large asset that you have in BKC, if I'm not wrong. Give us a status update. Let's start off with BKC. What's the progress in terms of construction? When is the first installment of sales likely to flow into your books?
Sure. So just on your first question on the new launches, I think already so far we've had 5, including the soft launch projects launched in the first half. We had guided at the beginning of the year that we'll have 17 launches for the financial year. We very much would like to reiterate that guidance, and we think we're on track to do that. We did have one project that was to be launched in the first half that is now slipped into the second half. And unfortunately, given that these launches are usually tied to regulatory approvals, it's not necessarily always possible to be perfectly accurate with when the launches happen. But so far, at least, none of the launches that we'd planned at the beginning of the year are substantially delayed in any way. On your question on BKC, I think we hope to actually in the current quarter launch that project from a sales perspective and unlock some capital from that. So I think that is also one of the projects that we would like to launch in the current quarter. And I think being the festival season, it is generally the quarter which sees the most launches. And I think we have, for the remainder of the year, 7 different cities in which we'll be launching projects, some of which will have multiple projects being launched.
Right. One of the concerns, Pirojsha, is that analysts are citing is operating cash flows remaining negative and debt rising again in FY13. If there are any delays, of course, from the stake sale, particularly for the BKC project, what are your plans regarding ensuring that debt levels don't increase substantially from here, the cash flows improve? Do you think these concerns are valid?
Tanvi, I think it's an absolutely fair question. At the same time, I must point out that we had at the end of Q3 of last financial year a debt equity ratio of 2:1. At the end of Q1 of this financial year, that was 1.2:1. So there's already been a substantial decline. As you may know, we raised through India's first ever IPP a substantial amount of equity in Q4 of last year. We've also been growing at a very rapid pace. So far this financial year, we've added 4 new projects. Last year, we added 10 new projects. So of course, in the short term, while we are funding these projects and getting these projects towards launch, there is some amount of operating cash flow required for that. And I think that's what has been reflected in us having a negative operating cash flow. However, as these projects are now approaching the time where they will be launched, and as I mentioned, we have a fairly bullish launch schedule planned for the rest of the year, we do expect that to allow us to unlock some capital. We've also said very clearly that we would like to unlock some of the capital stuck in our commercial portfolio, particularly in some of our commercial projects in Tier 2 cities. We also have a substantial commercial project in Vikhroli, which is going to be largely used by the Godrej Group as their own headquarters. And we are, as Godrej Properties, unlocking a substantial amount of capital from that. And certainly we continue to focus on BKC and opportunities to monetize that project as well.
Pirojsha, great having you. But before we thank you, just one quick question. I know you're raising some money via commercial paper, so on and so forth. Just looking at how the market has just about picked up, real estate, everybody's now started talking about the sector again. Are there any equity raising plans over the next, say, 3 months to 6 months?
No short-term plans, certainly for any entity-level equity raising. On a project level, it's something we do look at an ongoing basis. BKC is one project where we've said that we are open to raising some equity at the project level, but certainly we don't expect any entity-level fundraising for the rest of the financial year.
Keep up the good work, Pirojsha. Good having you. Thanks so much for accommodating this interview request as well.
Great to be with you.
Well, that's Godrej Properties speaking about the new project that they've launched. The initial feelers are positive for both the projects that they've launched in the city of Bangalore. Confident about maintaining the guidance that they've put out as far as new launches go. Take a break on that note. Come back, take in stock recommendations from Deepak Mohani and Prakash Gava, and talk about a large cap stock which is active in trade today. A couple of reasons for Ken India doing what it is doing. We'll get in Ajay Sharma from our research team to talk about that.